Well, I'm kind of tempting fate tonight. Pretty dark clouds, but my brake pads arrived. I think they were $15.99. My Mintex brake discs, coated variety, they arrived much earlier in the week. They came from Northern Ireland. Very helpful people there. I'll put a link to both sources in the description. So I've just quickly jacked up the car. I'm going to take the wheel off. I'm going to get my trusty Lidl impact wrench, get the bolts out. Oh, I need to get the key for the locking wheel stud out as well. Yep, so that's the next step. Well, that's the wheel off. I must admit, those impact wrenches are a godsend. Make things so much easier. Now that seems to be okay. The drop link there. It's all looking pretty rusty, but that's just the Scottish weather for you. There's the state of the disc. As you can see, that's not looking very clever at all, is it? I'll get the disc off and get a better look at it though. Well, that's the pad carrier and the caliper off. I'll say one thing. I got a bit of flack on a video I did a few years back for a Hyundai i30 where I put anti-seize compound on these. This is from a chap that works on rally cars, which I would imagine you probably take the brakes on and off every meeting, maybe a couple of times a meeting, I don't know. But up here in Scotland, with all the salt, you could put lock compound on it or whatever, thread lock, and then you could have fun trying to extract bolts, because even with anti-seize compound on here, these were not easy to get out. I mean, it's not like they're falling out. And although it's probably not recommended, you know, technically speaking, you'd have a hell of a job. I mean, you can see what the metal looks like here. This is a 10-year-old car now. You know, if you decide to put thread lock in there, maybe it would help you get them out. I don't know. Maybe it would stop the corrosion. But the weather we've got here, I would always put anti-seize compound on, the copper slip, whatever, and it seems to set as well. So yeah, that feels pretty awful. I'm going to see if I can get this off. I did put, as far as I'm aware, I put copper slip on the back of there the last time I did these, which must be 4 years ago or something, I'm guessing. Not 100% sure, but anyway, we'll get a look at them. This is the other thing I've noticed. So this one's not bad, needs cleaned up. It is moving. This one is pretty solid, so I'm gonna have to get a spanner onto that and give it a twist, take it out. I have got some grease for that. The pads are actually not too bad at all, to be quite fair. The inner one is obviously it's more worn than the outer one, and it is far rougher because of the corrosion. But this has definitely got seized up, and I'm not too sure about the piston yet. I need to have a look at the piston. Well, this is absolutely solid on there. So I'm using a bolt that I had in my socket wrench kit. I've already put it into the bottom hole, and I'm basically drawing the disc off. That's obviously in the wrong setting. So there's that there. Oh, and of course handy, I've not got enough arms. That's the problem up here in Scotland. We've only got people with 2 arms up here, so I'm gonna have to do that. But anyway, that'll draw it off rather than whacking it like hell with a hammer. Well, it definitely looks pretty bad. I think you'd need to put that on a lathe or something to make it a bit more how you'd want it to be. The outside doesn't look too bad at all, but that was very much seized on, so there is anti-seize on there, but it obviously stuck on the circumference of it. The outside, that was obviously what? Yeah, I think that's where it was hanking on. Need to put more grease on that next time. So I'll see if I can find a wire brush, and I'll get my little pot of anti-seize, and I'll get some towels, and I'll give this a wipe down and a clean off. Well, I've cleaned up that hub a bit, took a wire brush over it, and I've just put a thin smear of copper grease around the edge, so hopefully when the new one goes on it'll not stick on like the last one did. Well, that's that disc on. I'm pretty sure I remember the discs being loose like that the last time, but I mean it must be 4 years ago anyway. I don't know if that was where originally they would have gone in, and maybe the threads were cut off or something, but it looks like it. Well, not the easiest thing to do with your left hand when you're right-handed. There we go. Alright, so, well, it does appear to line up with where those flat bits were, but once the wheel goes on, it'll not go anywhere anyway. So, my next thing is to have a look at this. I'm going to take these pads out and double check that the new ones are the same. Well, it does indeed look like they're the same pads. So yeah, that lines up there. I've obviously got the wear resonator, or whatever you call that thing, the thing that scrapes on the disc when it gets too low. Yeah, it all seems to line up how it should. So I'm assuming I've got the correct brake pads. So now I'm going to take these slide pins out, give them a good clean up, and then put them back in, and then I'll see about putting the pads in. The pad ears might need slight trimming, I don't know yet, but I've got a file here, well I've got a grinder to trim them down quickly. So that's my next step. So I'm going to get this unseized, take the pads out, clean everything up in here, and then grease up the slide pins. I've actually got some grease for that purpose in here somewhere. There we go. This is from Euro Car Parts. I think it's £3 odd. So I've used it before and it seems to be fairly successful, so we'll try it again. Although I was obviously overdue giving these slide pins a bit of a service, so I'll not leave it as long the next time. So I couldn't turn that with my fingers, but I've got a 19mm, and that's turning it. So I'll take it out with my hand now, clean it up with some of that shop towel, and grease it up with the Ceratec. Yeah, that didn't look very clever. That's it's pretty black. So this bit is actually stuck in here at the moment. I'm going to have to try and gently see if I can get that out. That's it, it's coming away now. Just gently go around the circumference. You don't want to rip it, unless of course you've been sensible and you've actually bought a new slide pin kit. But well, I'm trying to save the planet, obviously. So, and being Scottish, you know, there's certain stereotypes that we have to fit, you know, being tight gits, obviously. So that one's okay. So I'll get a wire brush in there, clean that out, and get it greased up. Well, those pads were not moving in the carrier at all. They were absolutely solid. To tap them out with this handy hammer. So I'm going to take this out, wire brush it all. As you can see, I'm actually wearing a boiler suit today. A bit sensible. So I'll wire brush inside there, get the corrosion out, and then I'll wire brush once I've got that out underneath here as well. So hopefully this time I will actually do what I'm going to say. So I'm going to wire brush all of this, wire brush that, clean up these shims, and then see how much adjustment the pads need to fit. It's probably a bit tight. It's great if you live somewhere like Florida or somewhere where you don't get rust. You just don't get problems like this. I would have had the job done by now. That's me talking from experience as well. So anyway, back to rusty old Scottish stuff. Well, I've not actually checked the timestamp to see how long that took me, but that took me a ridiculously long time to get these pads to fit. I had to buzz them down here at the ear, and also at the flat there, and at the flat bit here, and at the ear there. So I finally got that on. This piston's not moving very freely, but anyway, my pal's coming along in a sec with now that felt brilliant before. It's now feeling stiff, and that's, well, that one's okay. I think it might be worth thinking about getting some new slide pins. They don't feel wonderful. They cleaned up fine, and nah, they just don't feel. They don't feel like how I like to feel them. I might have some actually spare, but I don't know if they're the same size. Anyway, my pal's coming along with a G-clamp, so I can hopefully push that piston back in. But yeah, that took an awful lot of effort. Oh, there's me, clumsy oaf. And yeah, the brake disc has definitely seen better days. Well, that's that side done. The G-clamp did the trick. I think I will look at getting some slide pins just to make sure, as soon as I've got new discs on it. I'm not wanting to knacker them up for the sake of 7 or 8 quid or something. So that's the new disc. We'll see how long it stays like that. I had far more farting about with getting these pads in than I thought was reasonable, but that might just be specific to this PPF brand. I'll find out when I do the other side. I won't be doing it tonight. It's time is it? It's 8:30. So yeah, I'll just get the wheel back on, get the jack out, get the axle stand out and whatever, and get everything tidied up. Well, it's a bloody wet, as you can see, miserable day. I put all this back together last night. I could do with giving these wheels a good clean down with some wheel cleaner. The front brakes look okay. I'm thinking this caliper's probably going to need to get replaced. Well, that's not the caliper, it's a pad carrier, but this caliper here might need replaced. I was looking at piston repair kits and seal kits and all that stuff, but to me, somebody else might have an opinion on it. It just doesn't seem worth the bother. I can get a new caliper for 37 quid or pay 20 odd quid for a kit, and it's like, well, the amount of effort required would just seem to be not worth it. But anyway, it's raining just now. If and when it gets drier later today, I will have a go at this side, and I don't think it's quite as bad this side as the other side, but it's the same thing. The disc's okay on the outside, with maybe a millimetre of lip at the most, but it's definitely needing sorted out, and new discs, or new disc. But anyway, back into the house, out of the rain. Well, I had my first journey in the car today. I did about, I don't know, 16 miles or something. So the pads are obviously not quite as flat as they should be, but that might be something to do with the guide pins or the slide pins. But so much smoother today. So anyway, I'm going to do the other side now. Well, here we are. I'm on the left side, or the passenger side. The brake looks pretty rough again. No doubt it's going to be a bit of a balls ache getting it off. But anyway, I'll take the 214mm nuts there and there. And once I've done that, I'll need to get the pad carrier off, and these are 17mm bolts. So I'll take the caliper out of the way first. I'll try and push back the piston, and then I'll take the carrier off and see if I can get the disc off without too much trouble. Famous last words, as usual. Well, here's the passenger side disc. That came off easily enough. You can still see a bit of the anti-seize there, but definitely needs it round the edge. You can see that's pretty well worn as well, and there's a fairly significant lip there. I don't know if that translates well onto the camera, but you can see the wear on the pads. Yeah, it's very much in a groove. You can see the grooves. Groove at the edge, groove there. So it's almost like it's on a track. There's still quite a bit of meat on these pads. The outer edge is much better. Just a little bit of wear on the outside. Plenty of meat on the pad, as I say. there is a bit of a lip. There's maybe a 1mm lip, but I wouldn't be too bothered with that. But it's not been going down on the inner part of it. So maybe it's going to be the slide pins again. Could well be the case. I need to get some new slide pins. That one's moving fine. That one's a little bit stiff. It is moving, but anyway, I'll take these off, get them cleaned up. Same with the shims. Take these off, clean them up behind. Bit of a wire brush. And then I'll give this all a bit of a clean up as well. That'll need to get anti-seize compound on the edge. I was thinking about doing my drop link tonight, but I'll see if the bottom nut comes off, because otherwise I'm not going to bother. But yep, there we go then. So well, here's the progress. I've given this a rub down with a bald wire brush. I'm going to put some copper slip, which I've got in that pot, and I have installed the new pads. I've trimmed this part and I've trimmed that part with my grinder. Same on both sides. I have also lubricated and greased up the guide pins, or the slide pins. But I think I'm actually going to get a new set, but they'll do for now. But I will definitely change them before the weather becomes more inclement. So the next thing is put the disc on. I say I'll get some copper slip onto it. And yeah, that'll be enough for tonight. Although it's a lovely night, but that'll do for tonight. Can't have too much fun. Well, that's it all back together. So I've tightened up the 14 mils, I've tightened up the 17, so there's one at the bottom for both. There's one at the top there, one here, and one at the back there. So now, just to get all that crap that I've introduced onto the brake washed off, should do. This I think I got this at Euro Car Parts, or Car Parts for Less. It was quite cheap. It used to be about £2 odd, but I think it's closer to £3 now. But also very good for cleaning out your carbs. But of course, some people might say, "Oh no, you can't use it for that." But well, I've used it for it, and it seems to work very well. The only difference is you just get a short, stubby nozzle instead of a big, nice long hose. So next thing, I'll take that axle stand out, I'll get the wheel back on, I'll give the brakes a bit of a pump, and then my next video will be changing this drop link and quite possibly putting in new slide pins. And I might order, I'll see how the other brake goes, but I might order a front caliper. It's only £37, so it's quite nice. Sun's definitely going down now, but yeah, we're definitely on our way to summer here, or it appears that way. So I'll get the wheel on, get my hands washed, and get this stuff uploaded. Well, it's now time to tidy up the tools and get the kettle on. So that's the new brake disc fitted on the passenger side. Definitely need to get that wheel cleaned. And this is what the brake looks like after one night in the open. So yeah, it's definitely seen better days. I don't know how good the Mintex discs will be, but presumably they're not going to be any worse than that. It almost looks like it's camouflaged, the colour there. But yeah, so I've got my drop links. I might have mentioned it earlier that they came in a Vauxhall Vectra box, but I got in touch with the guy and he got back pretty quickly, and he said no, it's just the box. They're the proper ones. So it looks to me like they will fit on either side on the KIA Ceed. I don't know that for sure, but according to what I'm looking at, either I've got a matching pair or they are interchangeable left and right. So anyway, I better get this all tidied up and give the brakes a check, and I'll get this posted tonight. I forgot to say, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask. If I can be of any kind of assistance, I'll try my best. Obviously I'm not a mechanic to trade, so I can only give you my opinion really, based on experience. But yeah, if there's anything else you'd like to know, please let me know, and if you feel like it, subscribe and like. Now that I'm over the 1,000 figure. Whoa, only took me about 10 years.